Okay. So I hear this music. I'm like, wow, this is beautiful music. And I'm listening to it, and then I hear I start to get feelings that someone's trying to tell me something or give me visions of things that I'm supposed to learn about. And as I'm hearing this music, I'm seeing the different psychedelic things and cool memes and stuff. And it was interesting because, whenever I would hear someone like really vomiting, my attention would be withdrawn, and I would hear that, and my attention would go to that. But then I would get a cat meme, and because my friends and I share cat memes, and it really does, brighten your day. So I would see a cat meme, and then my attention in my mind would go to the cat meme, and I would go, oh, kittens. Oh yeah. And then I would, in my mind, say, oh yeah, this is, okay, I get it. You're distracting me. This is better. I'll stay here and I'll focus. Okay, you have my attention. I get what you're trying to do. So, and by you, I'm referring to what I call Pachamama or Gaia or Mother Earth or whoever was trying to guide me through this journey. So I say, okay, you have my attention now. I understand. Keep my attention here. I'll do that. This is better. So I kept my attention internally in my mind on what I was being shown. And eventually I start to feel that someone is showing me things, but through visuals and sensations. So I said, listen, if we're going to do this, I need to hear you. I need to hear you loud and clear, like loud, not like suggestions or not like whispers or not, hints or visuals or feelings of intuition. I need to hear you. And so she started talking in my voice to me, in my head, and talking clear as day directly. And I know it wasn't my mind. I know it wasn't coming from me. And I started talking in my voice. And I said, okay, but can you talk in a British accent? Because that would sound way more official. And that would make a lot more sense to me. And she said, I can, but that would require too much effort. And so I'm not going to do that. We're going to talk in your voice. This is how it's going to go. And I said, fine. So that's the agreement that we had. But for that whole night, and again, we started at 5:30. That night, we got home around 2. So I was a little surprised because that night seemed way, way longer. But that whole night, Pachamama was with me, talking to me clear as day. Clear as day. Like I had a best friend in my head. And it was so amazing. And so she guided me through. First, someone outside had started laughing. And they took him outside because he was uncontrollably laughing. It was so funny. He was screaming, wow, wow, laughing. And then everyone in my area started laughing. And then I guess I started laughing a lot. So one of the helpers came over and said, sister, breathe. And so I breathed. And I recovered very quickly, and I got into a yoga position, seated yoga position, and started breathing, and he gave me some aromatherapy. Breathe that in. Okay, so fine, I'm back to normal. Now I'm sitting and I'm breathing. And I start to see visions of underground, what looked like mushrooms, but it was, but they had faces. And then I was traveling underground with root systems and flowers, and this was meant to represent the beginning of life on the planet and how we came to be. And then the music, I realized, it wasn't actually even music. It was everybody throwing up. And it was interesting because one person would go into a fit and throw up. And I mean, when some of these people threw up, it sounded really, really awful. And they were really hacking and really like, and then around them, when they stopped, they would, go, and then other people around too would go, like in unison. It was like it was orchestrated, which is why I thought it was music. And then at the same time, the helpers and the shaman are doing chanting, and they're doing some shaking of things, and they have some kind of percussion and maybe wind instruments, and so it sounded really like a song. And so, I'm hearing all this, and I said to Pachamama, I said, I'm hearing all of this suffering, and why am I allowed to hear all of this suffering? It just sounds like everyone's suffering. And that's what it sounds like. Keep in mind, that's not what's happening, but it's what it sounds like. And she said, you need to hear the suffering because you don't hear it from the people you pass on the street. Meaning that people are suffering all the time. You just don't hear it. You're hearing it now, and this is actually a good thing because they're getting it out. But you pass people who are literally suffering a foot away from you, however many of them every day, and you don't hear it. So you need to keep in mind that people are always suffering, even when you can't tell. So I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. Get it. And then I said, but and she also said, do you also see now why this is so beautiful? Why all of it is so beautiful? The suffering, the joy, the pain, every experience is woven into this amazing tapestry of life. Beautiful. The whole thing together is beautiful. And you can't have that contrast. You can't have the joy without the pain. You can't have understanding things you want without knowing what you don't want. And do you see the beauty of all of it? And this is why I love all of it. And all of it has to be. And yeah, I understood very clearly. It made perfect sense because it did seem beautiful. And then I said, well, why only the suffering though? I can't laugh, but these people can vomit. Why? We can't hear positive things, but we can hear all this seemingly suffering. And she said, well, look at you. And now I'm back laying down. And she said, well, look at you. You're the positive one here. And you're just laying there. Got me. Yeah. Yep. You're right. Yep. You're the light. And what are you doing? Case in point. Point taken. Got it. So she was right. So she took me on a little journey, which I will explain in the next video.